given that I started typing the notes up for this on Thursday and printed them off when I got here today, it'll hopefully be relatively brief, but you will have to follow me just staring at the screen for a long while trying to figure out what I'm going to say. I'll take it out because I'm going to turn it out a lot. I was trying to go with the oh fuck mate, that's a lot louder, isn't it? Just put it down. There we go. Yeah, I was going to go with the Alloy approach, but I'm pointing out I finally found the clicker. The little QR code that I did not speak about while anybody was here, that takes you to a score. Did you talk about it?
No.
No, you didn't. I was still here, I was watching. That takes you to a little scorecard that basically assesses your readiness for the changes to national minimum wage. It's fucking brutal, if I'm honest, but I made it that way just to give everybody a really sad January. Without further ado, I'll rock on. Oh yeah, that's the title, just in case Alcoholics Anonymous is next door. You know what? Put that there because I'm so close to it, Alf can see it anyway. So I might have to turn around a lot. Yeah, so I think we work with probably like 100 venues. I've got to remember to move the mic when I move my face. And each and every one of you that's got a venue or a business, we've all started it for one reason or another, whether it's to do something better for ourselves, improve our own lives, try and get more time back, which is all you know is a fucking joke, or to improve the community that we're in. A lot of you will have worked in hospitality previously, some, I think you two know, some not. But when you've worked for other people, I did exactly the same thing. I could do this better, fucking easy this. And then when you get going, you realise how fucking difficult it is, and nobody told you that it was hard. It's like really, really hard. You spend 90% of your time putting out fires and nothing but, or jumping behind the bar or in the kitchen, and that's literally what your day is. And sooner or later, everything starts to catch up with you, and you realise, well, shit, there's loads of stuff I haven't paid attention to. I didn't know I should have been VAT registered, I didn't know that I needed to be on payroll, my accountant said I could take dividends, that's fine, it's all well and good, so I just kept pulling money out the bank. And it leads to one issue or another. Oh, yeah, there we go, won't ruin the surprise. But one of the biggest conversations I've had in times of late, and I will get to national minimum wage eventually, is me and you, Laura, have had this conversation as well. It's about paying yourself properly. So most people, when they've spoken to the accountant tells them you need to be taking £758 a month through payee, and then the rest is salary. It's because anything below 9,100, the business doesn't incur any employees NI, so it seems like, good deal. And for a lot of businesses, that's absolutely fine. Like for my, I take a salary, by the way, so I am, practicing what I preach. But for a lot of businesses like mine, where income is regular, profit is regular, you know what's coming in and out every month, taking a salary and dividends is a nice and easy one. I know what profit I'm going to make next month. I know where to cap out my dividends. But with hospitality, it doesn't fucking work. And all that ends up happening is you end up running through. Sorry, I've got my slides backwards. Louise put them all in a nice order, and I've undone it. All that ends up happening is you start pulling out dividends, or what you think is dividends, and all you're doing is pushing up your director's loan account because you haven't actually made enough profit to cover a lot of it. But your accountant's told you to do it, and then lo and behold, you end up smacked with a nice big S455 bill at the end of the year. Or some of you may or may not have had it before. You've had your every year accounts done, and your accountant's then said, you need to put £5,000 back in the business now, or here's your tax bill for it. So salary or dividends is always a big one. And if you are lucky enough to be hitting a £60,000 net profit in your business, which it's hospitality, who the fuck's doing that at the moment, then there is a massive clear divide between taking a smaller salary and higher dividends, or vice versa. The only thing I haven't accounted for in here is anything over 50. Obviously, for those of you that know, corp tax is now on a sliding scale. Anything above 50 grand will start creeping up to 25% corp tax instead of 19. But all in all, I know it looks like a huge difference between the two of them. Oh, I'm missing a slide with there's a column behind me that probably explains a bit more of it. So I'm going to have to stand down. You'll have to look at the back of me for a minute while I talk about it. Yeah, so between taking a lower salary and higher divs, and the bottom end of taking a higher salary and lower divs, there's a big jump. So the take-home pay is much higher with dividends and the like, even after all tax has been accounted for. Once we include the fact that pensions are actually accounted for within a salary and they aren't within dividends, gap is marginally better, £2.5–3 grand better off. I haven't got the data that shows the compounding effect of pensions. I can find it, but it'd be a much longer conversation between all of us. For me personally, when you're in hospitality and you don't know what 1 month from the next is going to be, my recommendation is always take a salary. Take a salary, take as high as you can before you then bleed into dividends. If you can get to a 50k salary and then worry about dividends after that, you're in a brilliant spot. Granted, the tax payable is going to be higher on the salary than it is on dividends, but with the dividend allowance decreasing, and dividends are now, 8.75%, which are factored in there, and corp tax is going up to 25% above, on a sliding scale above £50,000 profit, it whittles down quicker and quicker. Plus, as I was saying before with S455, the minute you run into a loss, anything that you've taken that you think is dividends is no longer dividends, it's director's loan. So what you'll find is a lot of places end up trying to borrow from the next year's profit to pay the current year's dividends, and it just rolls downhill again and again and again. Whereas if you're taking a salary and running at a loss, provided that you're taking a fair wage, it doesn't matter that you're then running at a loss. All you've done is reduce your tax for the following year by taking an actual salary out. And from the people I've spoken to, where we have said, you've got to make this work on an actual salary, we found that I'm going to have to single you out a little bit, sorry, business performance does increase, doesn't it? Because you've got to fucking make it work, because you've got to pay everybody else. Yeah, otherwise you're not getting paid, and neither is everybody else. Also, for those of you that don't know what S455 tax is, that is a tax when, obviously, it's in the name, that is when you've overdone it on the dividends. They're then classed as something called illegal dividends, and they sit in your director's loan account. So for those of you that work with an accountant and they talk about your DLA or director's loan account, there's a big list of shit that you've spent from the business personally it's not your money to spend. And if you finish the year and your director's loan account is higher than the amount of profit after tax, then there are no dividends to declare. And what you get is a whopping tax bill of 33.75% of the balance that you've taken that you shouldn't, which is a massive kick in the dick compared to the 20% income tax that you're going to pay on taking a normal salary. So for me, I always promote, especially with new businesses, take a salary. If you have to adjust it month by month, adjust it month by month. But we find that with most businesses, when they start, they don't run management accounts, or they're not really sure on how to run them themselves, which I'm sure I could do a different separate thing on reporting and how that works down the line. But because they're not quite au fait on what their exact profit is for any given month, we find that those people tend to be at the most risk of overdoing it on the dividend side of things and getting that whopping tax done 9 months later. Oh yeah, there you go. Sorry, that explains exactly the same thing. But you can't see after anymore.